Bracey, who has been just traumatized over this situation, as anyone that would be guilty of trauma and the brutality that their daughter faced. Bracey, y'all, let's let them know that we will. Taylor right now. 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 Taylor right now.
Line in.
On Tuesday, we got a phone call. Well, I did from my daughter, telling me, that some girls knocked her out of school. So, I told her, just to inform the dean of what's going on. She informed the dean because the dean then called me to tell me that he'll have my daughter waiting for me in student services. So I told him, okay, let him know that we was an hour out from the school, but I'll be there on my way. Shortly after that, we got another call from the assistant principal to ask was it okay that an EMT checked my daughter out. So I asked him, I said, what happened? What's going on? Why do EMT have to check my daughter out? He never gave me an answer on what happened. He proceeded to give the phone to the lieutenant EMT for him to get on the line to tell me that her vitals were okay and that he didn't see any physical injuries that she needed to go to the hospital. But still, I asked him too, what happened? No answer, no response. Just gave the phone back to the assistant principal. The assistant principal told me and my husband that he'll tell us when we got there. Well, when we got there, I didn't see Taylor immediately because he took us in his office. And he took us in the office and brought the dean in, and the dean trying to, explain on what happened, but still never telling us that our child was actually knocked unconscious. And she woke up inside the office of the principal. So after her being knocked out, she didn't even know she was knocked out. She just woke up in the principal's office. So as we dealing with this now, my daughter is having headaches, blurry vision. She's having trouble remembering things, having a hard time sleeping. It's depressing. She's depressed. I'm depressed. We all are traumatized about what happened. And I just think that, if it was a white girl, would this have happened to the white child? No. So it can't happen to our child. And we want justice. We want justice to be served.
All right, Big Rob. Man, it's chilling to know what all happened to this young lady and how the school district responded afterwards. The person responsible for putting this press conference together that featured attorney Netley Jackson and attorney Ben Crump. We're going to bring her into the conversation, a serious power broker here in Orlando, Florida. I'm talking about when you want somebody, when you look picking a squad together, Rob, you picking a squad of street soldiers, you want this sister on your team. I'm happy to have on the show Miss Lawanna Gelzer. How you doing today, Queen Sister?
I'm blessed, my brothers. I'm blessed to be with you this evening. I'm blessed.
Well, we're blessed to have you. You boots on the ground. You this is what you do. You put this press conference together, what? How many days?
Less than 48 hours, actually. Really, honestly, I got the call Thursday. I had to select a location, go through the logistics, find out what the rules and regulations for Osceola County is, and then went to work on Friday, releasing everything after being released to press conference, confirming he would be here. was still concerned about if he could make it or not. So we was ready. So when he released the press release, we went into action.
Did you know Saturday? Did you know before Saturday that the family did not know that the kid had been knocked out unconscious until the next day?
I was privileged to that information, but because of who I am and what I do, I'm the person in the background. I will let the family share their story and being legal. That's the lawsuit. We do not need to have individuals who are putting out little buzzwords or want to be the first to say something, not realizing that you could be damaging to what is going on. So I knew who she was. I knew circumstances, but until Ben said he was going to be here, until Ben spoke, that was the order of the press conference. Let Ben and the family share that with everybody.
Do we know how is she doing now? How is Taylor doing?
Taylor is scheduled to have a lot of series of examinations to deal with if there was a brain injury or whatever, because it was a concussion. It was a concussion. And so we have to make sure she's safe, but she is still having problems with sleeping, headaches, blurred vision, and she's just devastated because no one wants to put this out. There was no fight. There was no blows. No one was touched. None of that transpired. But what you need to understand is Taylor was new to Kissimmee. The family just moved here in September of last year. She was being bullied. Her mother told her to go to the dean's office to go and report that she was being harassed. That's why she was leaving that office. She was being harassed by the young ladies that she got slammed to the ground for, saying that she would go. She wanted to. She was like, you guys keep bothering. I'm going to fight back. So she just said, I'm tired of this. Leave me alone. Is that grounds for you to slam a child to the ground because they're telling you, leave me alone? And she said, yeah, I would have fought back. I was tired. I had done everything to stop them from bothering me.
Man, that's a lot. That's a lot for a little baby. That's 122 pounds.
We're going to give her 3 more pounds because Ben says she 125.
125. All right.
Yeah, 125. You know, we did give you the fact sheet, but it doesn't matter. She was a child. And see, we got to go back to the use of force. That use of force is when the officer feels like he's in danger. That was not a de-escalation move. That was actually a karate move because you pulled her arms back so she couldn't even use her arms to break her fall. She never did anything to him. She walked past him. So I guess he had a problem with that. So this is why we say we don't need officers in our schools who all they know how to do is deal with what? Policing high crime situations. Our children are not a high crime situation.
Right.
This was bullying, and if you're not trained to deal with that, you don't belong in our school system. And that's why we gave the stats out, how young girls, 70% of them Black, are arrested in the school system. We talked about the school prison pipeline. This is an incident that they can come back and arrest Taylor for. She can be arrested still today.
Her mother mentioned, I think her mother or father mentioned, one of them mentioned at the press conference that the detective actually called their house wanting to talk to Taylor, saying that she's under investigation for criminal charges.
Yep. But see, Taylor's 16. You're not going to talk to my child or anyone's child. Why do they think that they can break the law to get information to protect this officer? So y'all need to ask yourself why officers are in the school. So the bottom line, they using the Bill of Rights and all the stuff to protect this officer and not protecting this child. See, Florida got one of those Bill of Rights that allows somebody to walk in my house as a police officer, even though they know it's the wrong house, kill me, and 99.99999% of the time, he or she will get away with it by saying, I thought, or it was a mistake. They're protected. We're not.
Lawanna Gelser, this community elected Monique Ruel, a sister, as a state attorney. Do she have any kind of say-so on criminal charges in this case?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Once the FDLE completes their investigation, which everybody needs to understand this, the FDLE is former police officers, former law enforcement officers. That's that clique. So do we expect to get the best investigation? They're going to do the investigation. I feel that would say that the officer, the deputy, was justified in his behavior. That's what we're used to getting. Remember, we always hear that, everybody. So, however, any charges are brought by the state attorney. So if she better drop these charges, she needs to, the officer needs to be charged with battery.
Exactly. Got some comments coming in online. Attorney T. Smith said, just a shame. We never had these issues with our officers at my school, Muskegon Heights High School in Michigan, 90% black school. Of course, our police officers look like us, and they wouldn't dare have done that. I just can't see that happening, not in my community. JSL says, stop criminalizing our children. Big Rob, any questions for Ms. Gelzer?
Oh, no, I just wanted to say that was for you to pull it off in 2 days. That was magnificent. I want to say that first of all, and then to see, Ben Crump there. And now they know Florida, Osceola, and I hope I'm saying this right, Osceola County knows that now it's serious. Y'all ain't just going to sweep this under the rug. Y'all ain't just going to let this happen. Because I know they were reporting at one time that she was fighting. And that's why the officer put her down. But you just stated there was no fight.
There was no fight.
And I've always been a proponent of that bullying stuff. I was bullied as a child because I didn't have all the latest clothes and I only had a couple of outfits to wear to school. So I understand this young lady's pain. What they need to do is, in my opinion, is y'all need to start putting elected officials in offices that can change those laws. Florida has one of the worst law things. I don't know how else to say it without using other words. That I've ever seen. How can you just said they can come in your house, make a mistake, and kill you and be justified? So if I turn around and say, well, I didn't think it was the police. I was scared I was in fear of my life, and I killed one of them first before they got the chance to kill me, I guess I'm going to prison.
It's a strong possibility because it's happened. It's a strong, wow. It was a Caucasian male in Cocoa, Brevard County that they came in his house and he shot the officer. He is taking him 5 years to stay out of jail. They're still trying to charge him. But the bottom line is we have no rights. And so when we understand the Bill of Rights and then understand the law about the Parkland shooting, about having school resource officers in the school, the misconception is they need to be police officers. They don't. They can be a hired security guard that's properly trained to interact with children. We don't need the law enforcement because all they know to do is arrest. Remember, we had a 6-year-old get arrested last year in Orange County. Two, actually. Then you had a school resource officer pull the hair of an African-American young lady in the 8th grade. And they don't have, but that's all they know to do. They don't know how to de-escalate each situation. All they do is, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to let you know I'm in charge. We don't need that in our school. And then we don't need people that don't view our children equally. Meaning, they didn't see a young girl. They saw a black female, and what? They paint all of our children as savage adults that needs to be handled.
Wow. We got some comments coming in online. Some activists from Orlando. Eric Brown. What's up, Eric? It's very heartbreaking that our children are being bullied and are the target of police brutality. This officer needs to be charged not only with battery, but fired with no pension and no other benefits. There you go. Take that pension away. That'll stop it. I know, Rob, you've been saying that for a while, brother.
I've been saying it forever. Arrest them first like they do us.
Yes.
If it was me, let's say me and you were married, and I slammed you to the ground like that.
You would have not got.
Lawanna ain't gonna let that happen.
But I'm just using it as an example. I would have been arrested first.
Immediately.
Right.
Immediately, I'd have been arrested.
And if it was your child, you would have been charged with battery on a child abuse. This is child abuse.
Right.
Right.
But you got to go back and look at what the sheriff deputy said, that the juvenile is okay. No, the young girl, the child is okay, even though she was still in the hospital when he said that. She's okay, but we need to stop all the harassment of my deputy and the threats to his life, because we're going to pursue you to the ultimate of the law to make sure you know you can't do that. What are you talking about, man? You're on national TV talking and promoting the justification of what this deputy has done. So that lets you know right now that we don't expect to get fair treatment by the Osceola sheriff, who just got elected and took office 3 weeks ago, who's Hispanic, that ran on what? Diversity. Yeah. And then when it came to fulfilling his positions as his deputies, he hired an all Caucasian male and said he couldn't find no qualified minorities. See, there you go. Y'all talk about electing people. They get it. They say whatever they have to say. And once they tell, they just turn and run cold. So,
right.
We need a year from now, do a recall. See, that's why I run for public office, and that's why they don't want me there. Because I'm going to hold you accountable, whether I'm in office or not. So we need to just understand, where was all the other elected officials, all the other school board members? Who has reached out to this family? Where was the pastors? Where were all the other civil rights activists? Where were they? On the sideline waiting. Or on Facebook saying that you're doing something to help the family. You don't even know who the family is, because you want to be relevant. But what we need to ask ourselves is, why do a lot of our people do that? Because we have people in our community, just like the King and others, that'll go back, the biggest snitches, and run back and tell everybody what we're doing.
Well, we got some comments online. The Long Dry champion from Pine Hills. We're so proud of Maurice Allen. This VIP. This man is putting money up, giving back to the community. Maurice Allen said, we need to hold them accountable on everything. It's time for us to take our community back. And it's only child abuse if you are seen as a human with rights first. Is that the problem? When they see a black kid, they don't look at them as being human.
Ben said it best, and the statistical information said the same thing. It said it. It said that no, they don't. They don't. They didn't see her as a young girl. They saw her as an adult. But if you would do a black woman, that's what y'all need to understand. As a black woman in this movement, I am sick and tired of. I hear about my brothers being shot and killed, but you don't hear about the hundreds of black women that have been shot and killed. You don't hear about so many black women that have been sexually assaulted by police officers. You don't hear about the abuse of black women. When Ben said the person on the face of this earth that has been brutalized the most is the black woman and black girls, you need to understand, we've been treated like this for so long because you don't see me as nothing but the slave control, to bury your children, to do what you don't see me as a human being. You see me as an object. Ask yourself if he would have did that with the Caucasian females in that school. Absolutely not. He would have never done that. So everybody said some people were calling me. It's not a racial thing. Statistically, it is. Remember, I majored in math and economics. I look at the stats. The stats said you're lying. And then I just wrote something today when somebody just kept harping. I just said January 6, 2021. And they wanted to know why I put that date. Well, where you been at? Did you not see white privilege at the Capitol? Did you not see white privilege? So what we need to ask ourselves is, What are we gonna do? So give me those 5, 6 people that saying they want to do something. Cause there's a school board meeting tomorrow that you can go to at Osceola. You can go to Orange County. You can say we don't no longer want these officers in our school, so they don't have to be there. You can hire professional security that can, if need be, and be properly trained. And if you put officers in the school, he or she must go through special training on how to work with children. We had fights when we were in school. I had fights when I was in school. But we have criminalized being a child. You have no zero tolerance. We don't want this. You have criminalized because you have seen our children as a commodity. And let's just look at it from an economic standpoint. School to prison pipeline is real. What do they base building police or jails off of? The third grade level of black children, meaning whatever our population is. It's a business. So I talked about the slave patrol. We're talking about policing. They're making money when they criminalize our children and take their future away from them. Because if she's arrested, she has to say, yes, I was arrested.
Wow. I don't think the public realized that, and the mother talked about this. They knew that their daughter was threatened. The school knew that their daughter had been threatened by 2 girls who had threatened to jump on her that day.
Yes.
So they supposed to been watching over her.
Yes.
And it turned around that she gets assaulted.
She not only got bullied, but she get assaulted by a police officer who's supposed to be there to protect her if that's the case. Now, you know, my things, good sister, is I would be like Ben Crump. They wouldn't have to worry about the wait for an investigation. That had been my daughter, and my daughter really is about 120 pounds soaking wet. PA know it.
Right.
You do my daughter like that, you ain't got to worry about the police coming to get you.
Oh, I believe Mr. Bracey, if he can get a hold to Mr. Fournier, if they can get in the same room, you don't have to worry about a retirement pension.
Right. You ain't got to worry about none of that if it's mine. Because when you look at that and you're a parent or you've ever been a parent, not my child, you know, I don't care what my child is doing. I can't do them like that. So why should you be able to do them like that? And that should be a question that you know, I don't know, Osceola people should bring up. If I can't do my child like that and then go home, eat dinner and all this kind of stuff, then why should you be able to do it? And it seemed like Florida, they want y'all to be their slaves again, and they your masters. You do what I say the first time, because I heard one of them say something about kids get arrested in school down there for talking too much in class and little things like that.
Yeah, disorderly conduct. Disorderly conduct because you talk back to the teacher. Well, doggone it, I would have been arrested so many times. I mean,
that's crazy.
They are criminalizing being a child behavior. What child? Also, you chewing gum. They could be arrested for chewing gum. That's disorderly conduct. They could be arrested for having their phone. That's disorderly conduct. But what you need to ask yourself is, why is these teachers in our school system saying it's important to call the resource officer and criminalize that behavior for black children and brown children, but you don't do it for the Caucasian children?
There you go. Corey Chandler made that comment. You never hear incidents like this happening to Caucasian kids. That's a Black History trivia right there. No, right. No, that's what they reserve for us. Lawanna, thank you for what you do in Orlando.
Okay.
You the real deal. She's independent, Rob. She can't be bought. She's always fighting. And we got to get you back on to talk about your environmental fight, because she's one of the few black people who's talking about, Rob, the environmental impact that these chemicals that are in our community that is affecting black folks. And you recently got a grant, right?
Yes, I recently was funded by the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. I received an environmental justice grant for Orlando area, Paramore, Holden Heights, and Mercy Drive to talk about the air quality and how poor it is and the environmental issues that are affecting our community.
And you believe this is happening around the country? Do you believe this is happening around the country?
Absolutely. And we can prove it. We use the city and everybody else data. So all these years they've been saying we shouldn't be concerned about the quality and the environment in our community, ground exposure, Griffin Park, all of the transportation, I-4, all of that emission. Here it is. The EPA, the federal government validated that we were telling the truth. We've been telling the truth for years. And it's always in communities of color. So when you have respiratory issues, asthma, or diabetes, it's not necessarily always about genetics. It could be where you live. So
what do you feel? And we're going to get you back so we can have an in-depth conversation. This broadcast has been aired, of course, in 98.5 The Wire in Orlando, Florida, 103.7 Beat, Muskegon, Michigan, Power 105.3 in Ben Harbor, Michigan, and it's running back on Comcast Cable Network throughout the whole state of Michigan. What would you say is one of the biggest factors when it comes down to these toxins?
Respiratory, and that's why I've been working with people with COVID, because when you have poor air quality, the COVID molecule stays in the air and it can attach, which means it lasts longer and exposed to the social determinants as far as why we are sick in our community and why we have poor health quality. All of those things have been exposed by COVID and the environment. They're all interlinked. That is what we call systemic racism. It's embedded in the culture of government and people that don't look like me. I'm not saying them all, but Caucasian people. It's money. If I can put it over there and not in my community, or I can make them sick and not my community, I'm fine. Just like Tangelo Park, I'm fine. Millions of dollars they're gonna make, but how many people? Look at Flint.
Yeah.
Flint.
So in Tangelo Park, there's an issue with folks having cancer?
Yes, cancer clusters are real. It's real. We need to just understand you're not necessarily ill because of genetics. It could be you've been living in a community that has been toxic to your body.
Wow.
And so we gotta wake up. I told everybody I'm not against anybody, but the biggest hurdle I've had in this community in Central Florida has been government, and you're gonna be shocked, Democrats. But I call them the Dixiecrats. The Dixiecrat was a party that separated from the Democrat because they didn't want to talk about social and change the social justice. So when I talk about, I'm talking the reality. We got people that want to say they're doing something, but if the data's right then, all you're talking about is she don't know what she's talking about. She's angry. I'm not angry because I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm angry because I do know what I'm talking about. That's the problem. You don't value the lives of the people who can't fight for themselves. So the Taylor Bracey's and all the other young people and the kids, we've got to fight for them.
Wow.
We're fighting for them.
How can people connect with you that are watching or listening?
You know what? You're not the only Lawanna girls in the world. If you can spell my name, you can find me. Or I'm simple. Call the super. 407-953-5599. Call me or text me. It's plenty of work. I'm not an information hoarder. Let's get busy. Let's get to work. And Rick Scott did not come up with that. Let's get to work. We gotta start. We have to.
Thank you so much. I'm going to thank all the folks who commented. Marcy, thank you for your comment over there in Tangelo Park. Arlene, Eric, Patricia Rump, Pine Hills Community Council, folks in Michigan. Big Rob, anything we got for Lawanna before we go?
No, just keep on fighting, sister. And, if you need some muscle, give me a call because I don't mind.
Be careful now. Be careful. Super call on you. Because we had to have security because we didn't know if the Proud Boys or anybody was going to show up Saturday. Our security was there, but the point is, I'm not going to fight with adults about what did she do to deserve that. Why is that always your response? People that don't look like me, Caucasian. She must have did something. She was black and a girl. That's what she did. She was born that way. So that's her crime. That's her crime.
That's it. Unfortunately. All right. Thanks, Lawanna. See you next time.
All right. Good night.